In-game Minecrafters, it's your boy MC Rep. As you know, we have some long comments to get through in this first MC Reads video. As you can see on the screen, we already have one from Luigi Time XD from 1 month ago. It was on one of our live streams. Let's just get into it. He said, another Snapchat canceled because holidays. Yes, 20W58 is absent. It's for 20W51A time till 12 a.m. afternoon night or not. Warden update. Oh, and some bug fixes and new stone and deep dark candle instead? Question mark. Some all of blocks. Who doesn't know to guess the block name? True there. However, 20W51A has a several update, and where the holiday time came and another ton of blocks and stuff, then bug fixes again. Should there's new mob called Goat. Introducing them look like I goat the point. If you hit them, you get hit fast by a goat. If you get shear to cut the horn or kill the goat that drops its horn, you might play raid horn. It will be useful to hear all of pillager army nearly them. What make the goat work? The horn hand animation dot MC entity something animation file source question mark does not play if it before Java could remove MB. That's why it ruins your gigabyte. D colon the emotion animation should not to do lag at any time. New biome cave, lush cave. What if this is luscious world inside? There's new tree. Azalea types question mark. A new type of wood. The new leaf and a azalea berry. Mention who does E. That's okay. I do mention this right thing. Another placeholder that Axolotl should be in 20W51A. This is a timeline came from. Deep dark cave question mark. Here we are. Vibrating noises. Warden should be in. Well, unfortunately, that would be in-game, which developer is break time and time to work 24 hours at least, and lol, never mind then. New candle, a cave candle. When it mentions the colored candle, I've taken so long. What time was skulk stuffs could be added, and new biomes here, and also the Twitter. Mention stuffs. Here we are. Sweet berries. Really same as golden apple / carrot. That gives your hunger rate to 4 out of 6. Pot uses for decoration that pots when you heat and you fill water bucket in the pot. Clay pot smelt when placed under the campfire / fire with netherrax. Pot shards used to decorate the pot, yes. Used for decorate the pot, yes. Axolotl bucket used to catch axolotl. It tames question mark require that axolotl needs to eat. Goat horn can blow, not explode stuff. It when you near the raids around the village. Something. Potion on cauldron can store. Touching on them it makes you get affected. Nah, no it doesn't. Exclamation mark 1 exclamation mark 1 parentheses. Colored torch dies torch whenever it's colored. Don't blame Optifine creator, it's not supported. Brush and their variants can revoke the dirts and gravels. It gives you treasure stuff. Craft requirement copper, half a feather. Fletching tables, that's pretty cheap. Fletching tables function can use for bow upgrades. Iron and gold, their speed increases when upgraded. Table list iron greater than 1.25, gold greater than 1.05. Also that would work to shot them. Deep stone uses for deep dark biome generation. Player 3D improvement uses for player hat will turn 3D just like Bedrock Edition. Bog hat can use in-hat files and can create whatever you send JSON model and the hat texture, then you rename it something. Example, hat.png, hat.json. 12 a.m. / 1 a.m. where unless releasing any country in Minecraft after the snapshot starts releasing. Thank you, Luigi Time XD, for this insightful, very long comment. I'm out of breath reading it, and we are going to get into the next one. Next up, we got a comment from Cheddar. Tell me if it's pronounced Cheddar, I don't know. From a week ago. Of course, we can't go too long without mentioning the Emerald and Copper armor video. It says, I agree that Emerald gear doesn't fit into the game, but I think Copper gear would be a great addition to the game. Emerald may be rarer than Diamond in most biomes, but they're stupidly abundant in mountain biomes. And like you said, there's the issue with villager farming. Diamond was chosen as the top tier material because it's characteristically very strong, but that's not exactly the same with emeralds. And again, like you said, they kind of fit in the game better as a currency in my opinion. Copper, however, is a useful material and metal. You mentioned that iron is very good tier of items from early straight into late game. Well, the thing is that you can get iron literally within the first minute of the game. I think the best thing to do here is buffing iron and letting copper take the place between iron and stone, or stone and iron. Look at the power gap between wood and stone. You get a bit of speed and durability boost, as well as an additional point of damage for weapons. But now look at the difference between iron and diamond. Iron tools have around 250 durability, while diamond ones have over 1500. Even the power gap between diamond and netherite isn't that big. If the durability and speed of iron tools were buffed by a little bit to say 500, 600 durability, and the gap would be smaller. And the game's progression would be made longer for making a more enjoyable and long-term gameplay experience. Also, I think it would be a good idea to replace chainmail armor with copper armor. Right now, chain is uncraftable and doesn't fit well within the rest of the armor sets. Having copper replace it would fix this. And I did respond to this as well. I do have a reply here, so I'll go ahead and start off with that. So I said, first of all, thank you, of course, for actually watching and understanding the point of the video and then responding intellectually, because a lot of the other comments on this video don't seem to, I don't understand where people got things from. I don't know, but this, you can actually tell that they actually watched the video and understood the point I was trying to make, but you know, I digress. One issue with the suggestion is, I said that is the progression for ores doesn't always happen linearly. Villagers, loot, and random generation can all allow players to skip tiers of armor. You know, they say we're trying to make a long-term experience for getting armor. You know, if by buffing armor or buffing iron and making copper take its place, you know, then you're creating this kind of longer experience as you go from wood / stone to copper, then iron, then diamonds, then netherite, right? But you know, the point is like that doesn't necessarily always happen like that. You know, I don't think it creates a long-term experience. One, because players with already made worlds won't have a need to make copper armor. And secondly, copper armor will quickly become useless on new worlds due to the ability to find other ores and loot. Being a sandbox game, there's nothing really stopping players from going past an ore. Even if iron were to take this place, it's not like, even if you were to buff iron, you can still really easily skip, you know, leather, stone tools. You really don't even have to necessarily go to stone tools if you do well with loot, villager trading, and how random generation works. You could just you could hypothetically skip past these things, and I think creating more tiers within for the early game don't necessarily help, unless of course you get to the next part. Otherwise, you're asking for more than just a new armor and like a new tier, but instead you'd be having to change how ores generate, their strength, what villagers can trade, and loot in all structures. You'd be asking them to replace all instances of iron with copper, and perhaps all diamond with iron, to force players into a longer progression. And I mean, is this really what we want to do? As my other video suggested, the solution I propose is to give copper a unique purpose. We already have an armor progression, and we just added something to it in the previous big update. So instead of doing that again, maybe copper should be a unique ore with completely different purposes. In my video, I suggested it should work more with lightning, so if you want to hear more about, I guess, what I think it could do with lightning, then you can check that out. But, you know, as I'm saying here, you know, like, let's say hypothetically, all Mojang did was buff iron strength and make copper, or like copper armor with iron's current strength. You know, hypothetically, you could still go find a blacksmith's chest, go find some iron armor, and you like might make a copper pickaxe so you can mine some more armor that you would still find around the places that you would find copper, and then you would just like skip most of copper. Like, it would be a waste of time to try to get a full copper armor set before getting a full iron armor set, without, you know, completely eliminating the ability for players to get iron as easily as it is now. You know, if you make kind of copper where you see all instances of iron, and then of course also change diamond to all instances of iron, so that iron has that kind of rarity that diamond has now, so that you're kind of forced to go to copper. Like, you're asking for a lot of changes, more than just copper armor. You know, you're asking to change many pieces of the game in order to try and make copper armor relevant. And I think that's the point. Like, people are trying to justify copper's existence as armor by centering the whole game around making it fit. Like, it obviously doesn't already fit within the game's progression, so you have to try to change all of these things in order to make it work. Like, it already doesn't fit, and you have to try to change a lot of things fit. So it's like, just give copper a unique use. We don't need more things that we already have. As I said in the unique videos, which I'll probably make a playlist of, like, what does it need videos. That should be a playlist, actually, now that I think about it. But essentially, when we add new things to the game, we want to see what areas of Minecraft we haven't explored yet, and how can we develop those things. As I said in the video, we don't have a very in-depth exploration of what lightning can do in Minecraft. I think the trident was like the first thing that actually interacted with lightning, outside of how lightning interacts with mobs. Like, that was the first thing, and now we have something that can actually manipulate lightning in some sense, with tridents being able to control where it strikes during a thunderstorm. But can we store lightning powers? Can we make lightning affect other things? Copper would be the way to develop that area of Minecraft if we wanted to give it a more unique use. But of course, copper could be used for other things. I'm just relating it to how it works in the real life. But copper could have a more magical purpose, or a more fantastical purpose in the game of Minecraft, of course. And I want it to be unique, so we feel like when we find copper, we're not just finding a worse iron, we are finding something completely different, like how we might feel with redstone, lapis lazuli, and emeralds. We just want to add to that unique pool. But yeah, that's my rant. I've been ranting on this for 5 million years now. So no copper armor, no emerald armor, make things unique, blah blah blah. Next comment coming up. And finally, commenting from JS, the most important comment that I wanted to get to in this video was this one. So let's just start off by reading through it. He says, in my opinion, the issue with Minecraft is the fact that it may be one of the most poorly balanced games in history. I don't think the game needs stuff added. It needs to be balanced in a way to make it actually, I think they mean somewhat challenging and fun. Because while I agree Minecraft is a sandbox game, that's not all it is. It's a sandbox game. What needs to happen is for Mojang to balance out the game in such a way that it's fun. For example, here's a list of 5 things that I can give that would fundamentally make Minecraft a more fun game. Change how beds are attained, rework hunger, rework sprinting, rework food stacks, rework shields. If they made it so beds were only obtainable in end cities, it would change skipping the night, the most powerful and mind-numbingly boredom-inducing ability in the game. Okay, I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. Into an endgame item, which I think is reasonable. If they made it so that the player's hunger didn't control health generation, but instead they always had very slow but steady health regen, it would prevent food stacking from being so prevalent in PvP. Make it so that now, instead of hunger controlling health regen, it would control power abilities. This would be like power attacks, blocks, sprinting, and speed swimming. This way, sprinting and the like are limited resources that can't be endlessly abused. Instead of sprinting/blocking, etc., would take chunks out of the hunger bar. How this could work is that sprinting and swimming, you have to be at 7+ hunger pops. Keep in mind the bars would only go down via using power abilities. I guess I'm assuming like your hunger won't go down because of your health being low. Then once you get below 7, you can only use the rest of your hunger for power attacks, blocking, etc. So like restricting the movements, like how we have with sprinting going away when you get really low from health, but instead doing that at a much earlier time, and things like that. Yeah. So make it so food only stacks to 1 to 8. That way, more powerful food like steak only stacks to 1. But make things like potatoes will stack to 4, fish will stack to 8. You can mess around with how long it takes to eat things and how they stack, how hard they are to get. To balance the food accordingly. Then with shields, they should be a tiered item like all the armor, etc. Make it so each tier up from wooden shields blocks more damage, starting at like 20%, going up to 70, etc. This would make shields aren't just OP and actually require more resources to get higher value. Doing all of this would make the game substantially more fun for most of the players who have complaints about the game without adding anything, without removing any sandboxy nature. Also, these exact changes aren't 100% required. I'm just saying changes like this is what a lot of people really want due to poor game balance, and current game provides little to no challenge to overcome, which is what makes most of us want to build and make things. It's an instinct from before society was even around like Minecraft did for us in the first place. Currently, most players have little or nothing to fear to overcome, and that's the issue. In modern versions of Minecraft, when you die, it's like 99% of the time due to RNG, not lack of preparation or lack of skill, which makes it feel like mobs are less of a risk and more of a randomization element designed to just mostly be a non-issue, but sometimes a strong annoyance. Sorry for my long comment, but this is something I spent a lot of time thinking about. Honestly, I'm considering making my own game, like a spiritual successor to Minecraft, not even to sell, but to have something that will bring back that feeling. Wait, there was the next time I commented under this saying that, you know, this was the video, like this video was made for this. Oh, and they said that they were keeping an eye out. And then, okay, so let me read this too. They said, I'll keep an eye out. Sorry if how I worded some of this stuff comes off as a bit confusing, but I'm excited to see your response. I'm a computer science major and I'm considering starting this idea of a game as a project over the summer. I think it would be fun. I would mod it, but I would rather it be something I made. Plus, I think I'm going to be to go with a more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time vibe with the art style. I feel like what made older Minecraft much more fun was, for me, was the sense of adventure and mystery, as well as the fear and suspense. I'm hoping to be able to capture those feelings. Anyway, can't wait to see your response. Now, I've got to say, I really made this video because of this comment, because I think that this was so beautiful, especially this follow-up comment. This follow-up comment in particular really excited me, given the fact that not only did they have a very long list or a very thorough idea of what they dislike about Minecraft, about what they think could be better, but they also are a very solution-oriented person, that they weren't just going to sit here and be another complainer on the internet, but instead they were willing to say, hey, I think I'm going to just make my own game that's going to give me that feeling, so that I can be happy, because just in case, you know, Minecraft doesn't provide me what I want, I'm going to go out and get it myself. And that is the kind of mindset that I wish more people had. You know, and it's so cool. You know, I don't talk too much about like my personal life outside of just me being MC Rep and whatnot, but I mean, I've got to say, like, I am someone that enjoys coding as well. I think it's awesome that you would do this. I kind of hope in some way, shape, or form we actually meet and maybe we would work on that together. I don't know. But, you know, I gotta say, first of all, just flat out, the fact that you are able to analyze exactly why you don't like it, state it in a very intellectual and very just a thought out way, rather than just kind of being an angry ranter, you know, it actually provides for meaningful conversation. But I guess to reply to the comment specifically, let's start, I guess, with the overall balancing idea. You know, I think this does have a lot of implications about how they want Minecraft to be balanced because of the different ways people play Minecraft. You know, they're kind of addressing multiple things at once, and I think that kind of what may be confusing to the comment, you know, because, you know, in a sense, especially like I noticed it particularly when it comes to like the food and the shields in particular, right? Because this is addressing PvP, but if these changes were to take effect, they could also affect survival mode. And it's like, if food were to only stack to 1 through 8, I think, you know, things such as in survival mode boss fights, like preparing for a long boss fight in the end, or long stays in the nether, I guess, like if you're traveling, maybe not setting up a base, or, you know, even just doing like a long adventuring if you're looking for different structures, or you're like you're traveling through the nether looking for another fortress. You know, you want to be able to bring, you know, huge stacks of food with you, so that, you know, while you're away from your base and you don't have an easy way back in a very dangerous location, you want to make sure you have that food. And I think, you know, something like steak only stacking to 1 could be a very dangerous thing for survival, but I can understand why they would say so for PvP. And I think a similar thing with shields. You know, they say, like, particularly their last sentence, saying that it actually requires more resources to get higher value, does make sense in survival, but may not make as much sense in PvP, because most, like, various different PvP games aren't necessarily having players go out and craft their tools. You know, they might have a more Hunger Games style where you go just get a chest and you have everything made for you. You just equip your armor, or you make like a few things. Like you might you might mine enough iron to get a sword or something, or like make the armor piece you're missing, but you wouldn't be you know, starting from scratch, playing in a survival way to build up your shield, unless the minigame is kind of more particularly geared towards that. But, you know, many games you just want to get your armor. It's all about kind of the skill. Can you continuously go do that thing? You know, even when it comes to the food thing, like they want to avoid kind of the food stacking, but I think that would still happen as long as eating food provides some sort of benefit. You would want to be able to stop other players from being able to get that. And I think that's the same way with armor. Like if you're in a PvP type of arena, you don't want to give your opponent the ability to get decent armor or better armor than you, so you would like either hoard all of that armor as well as the food, or perhaps throw that away, if like make it unable to be get, like throwing it into the void, like off the map or something like that, so that your opponents can't get that. And I think, that's just a part of the strategy. I'm not sure if that's something that you can really change, as long as both armor and food are in some sense valuable. Now, and I think the last thing to mention, kind of with the overall balancing overall, and I think this also does apply to kind of how mobs feel, is the ability, or is the fact that Jeb has been working on this new combat, has been releasing combat snapshots, and have been getting a lot of community feedback and a lot of tweaks. And I haven't been able to find any more recent ones. I'm not sure if they were still updated recently, like as of this year. But I looked at it some months ago into last year, probably, I don't know, maybe October at the latest. And everyone was getting closer and closer to what they felt as though was being a good way around it. And of course, taking to the effect that mobs don't feel like a challenge was something that they were addressing as well. And of course, messing with how long it takes to eat, and the armor points and the damage points, and like how things can reach, the difference between how fast you can click or press a button in order to attack, comparing both old and new style of Minecraft combat has been something that they've been looking at and refining for a long time. And I guess I'm not sure if you have been following that, and I mean, a part of that might be my fault, or maybe some other YouTubers' fault, because I haven't seen a whole lot of coverage of that recently. So that's something I can look into and try to give some updates on. But I think that is something that Mojang is looking into. So I do hope that as that becomes more popular, or as that becomes more relevant, that it is something that you look forward to seeing. Because I do think that it is aiming to solve a lot of the problems you're looking at, because of shields being OP, because of food stacking, and food being so important to regeneration, but not wanting it to be OP in PvP, mobs wanting to be a challenge, but like wanting to make sure you balance that out. Like, if you have this top tier armor, how challenging should mobs be? Things like that. And I am just overall grateful for this style of comment that they provide. So overall, like JS, I am really happy to even be the video that you commented this under, because I think that this is such a good idea, and things that should be discussed, or the things that are being discussed just may not be in popular light. And overall, if you happen to start working on that game, if you have ideas for that game, I don't mean to be like self-promoting here or whatever, but that is something I would and really enjoy seeing, to see what ideas you have or what you might be working on. I definitely am a game maker myself. I enjoy coding and stuff like that. So if you want to join our Discord, you can definitely showcase that in your content section. Please do definitely do that, and I hope to see what you make and what you see in that. And I definitely relate to this, because I definitely started playing another game recently, or like I kind of started and finished. I kind of beat the game a little bit a while ago, within the month, because of this kind of same purpose of kind of wanting a new challenge. I personally also feel as though Minecraft is not normally as challenging for me anymore. I can play on hard mode consistently and things like that, and I have beaten all the bosses a number of times. So I am looking for that extra challenge. So that's why I did go into speedrunning, and I did try to go into how can I maybe interact with the more creative side. Like I said in the video you commented under this, the another critique of Minecraft video, how can I challenge myself? Looking into the Nether only survival challenge, or like the ocean world survival challenge. Like, doing things like that is what gives me that feeling of challenge and danger, because since I don't have the ability to make the game harder necessarily, all I can do is like make the progression of the game harder, like limit my access to certain things. So like in the Nether, I don't have access to water. I don't have access to the same linear progression that regular Minecraft, the overworld offers, because I have to go like from wood, that's dangerous, if I'm in the Crimson, to gold perhaps, because it's harder to get, because I have to find a basalt deltas biome in order to get the stone. And then that's kind of where it is, like kind of where it ends. Like, what's my armor? Like, the best armor I could get is probably leather for the most part, or gold, because I have to defend myself against piglins, but that's not very good. So, all that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I'm also doing, and that's my way of solving my issue. And I'm glad that you actually have a different way of solving your issue, or solving the same issue that we're both seeing. And I wish more people would be like that in, being very solution oriented, being intellectual in the way that they present the problems they feel about the game, because I think this is a very valid concern, and I'm glad that we've been able to discuss it. But I think I've rambled on long enough now. JS, I hope to hear your response to this, because this video was made for you. So with that being said, don't be a Fortnite fool, Hytale hypocrite, or Roblox reject. Always be an amazing Minecraft master like JS. Stay blocky.